Hello everybody, it's Jen. I'm back with another project for Trinity Stamps. Today I'm going to be making a Halloween card using the Harvest Candy and Flower Bucket die set. So whenever I get a new die set, I like to go ahead and cut everything out of some white cardstock so I can see how the different dies work, what they look like, and how I might put them all together. So that's what I've done here. I'm going to give you a closer look here. I've got the bucket in my hand and it has some stitch detailing on it. You can add the little handle to the bucket or leave it off. There are a number of little oval shapes here included in the die set that you can use for the top of the bucket, or you can use them on the bottom of the bucket for some grounding or like a little shadow underneath the bucket. So I'm just showing you those different options that you have. You can have a closed bucket or an open bucket to tuck things in, which we'll be doing for the card today. And it gives you lots of variety of what you can actually do with the bucket. The design team has some gorgeous inspiration using the bucket with some of the flower stamps from Trinity Stamps, as well as some of their cute little candy stamps as well. So with the little bucket, you can go ahead and cut out the face either so that you can glue it to the top of the bucket, or you can die cut it right on the bucket itself. And of course there's lots of little candies included in the die set, which I've cut a number of them out here with some cardstock. So to create the card, I'm just using some carved pumpkin distress ink here, and I'm going to add some shadows and shading with my ink just to give the pumpkin bucket a little bit of dimension and interest. As I mentioned, there is some detailing on the bucket itself, so this will help bring out those detailed lines and really have them pop. For the background of my panel, I'm using some Doodlebug paper. This is an older collection from my stash, just trying to use up what I have. I will link all the products below, as well as a link to the newer Doodlebug collections. They often have similar pattern paper, so even though you can't get your hands on this one specifically, you can always get one that looks similar. So I went ahead and popped up my little pumpkin bucket here on some foam tape. I decided to go ahead and add the little handle for the bucket right down onto my card panel with some liquid adhesive. I knew I wasn't going to be able to cut my foam tape small enough for the handle, so I thought it would just be easiest to have it laying on the panel itself in the background. I went ahead and chose this open bucket rim here because I'm going to be adding a lot of the little candy dies that I cut out of various colors of cardstock into the pumpkin. And I love how you can create the look or illusion of the candy actually coming out of the bucket itself. So once I get that into place, I'm going to work on the little face of our jack-o'-lantern here. Now you're going to see me fidget with this a little bit. The easier way to do this would be to lay the die face down back onto the bucket and then fit your little pieces in and you'll get perfect placement. Or you can just do what I'm doing here and eyeball it. I love his little face. It's absolutely adorable. And if you went ahead and cut this out with the die itself on the pumpkin, you could make a cute little shaker card candy bucket as well. So now the fun begins. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add the candy inside of my bucket. I did add some distress ink to all of the candies. So I used the Twisted Citron, Mowed Lawn, Wilted Violet, Gathered Twigs, and then the carved pumpkin. Again, just to add some shading with the ink onto my images. Just gives them a little bit of a pop of color when you're using die cuts, but of course you can skip that step and simply use the die cuts themselves. I did go ahead and pop some of the lollipops there with some foam tape to the back of the circular part. This will ensure that they're the same level as the candy bucket itself, but I'm also going to go ahead and adhere some of them straight down to the pattern paper as well. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to fill my little bucket. Once I get that all filled, I'm actually going to add some of the candies below the pumpkin bucket as well. I thought it would look really cute to make it look like the bucket is so full that some of the candy is spilling on to the area below it. So we'll go ahead and use a variety of the dies here. I love the little circular one that has the swirls in it. You can also take that little candy piece apart and use the swirls separately, which is really adorable. So now that we have all our little candies in place, I'm using a Lawn Fawn smiley face here just to add some smiley faces to the lollipop. Because this is such a quick and easy card with the majority of it being die cutting, I thought this would just add a fun element. So now that I have those cute little faces in place, I'm going to work on the sentiment, and I'm using the autumn sentiment that just came out in the new release. I will have all the products listed below in case you want to take a look at things in more detail. So I went ahead and stamped that out with my VersaFine Nocturne ink. I chose the sentiment Trick or Treat for the front, and I'm using some of the same lime green cardstock that I used for the candies. Just going to add a little bit of Twisted Citron Distress ink there so it matches the candies. And then I'm going to adhere that to the top right hand side of my card. So I'm just going to go ahead and adhere that down with some liquid glue. Get that into place. I noticed that I didn't quite have enough glue to the edge of the card panel, so I did have to add a little bit more adhesive, and then I can go ahead and trim off the excess. I decided I wanted to actually finish the inside of this card, which I don't do nearly enough, but I loved the sentiment that came in the Autumn Sentiment stamp set, which says, "May your candy bucket never run out of chocolate." So I thought that was super cute and wanted to include that on the card. I had a bunch of candies left over. I chose to place 3 of them on the inside of the card, making sure to grab the little brown one so it looked like a piece of chocolate that coordinated well with the sentiment that I used on the inside. I took a little while here deciding where exactly I wanted the candies to be, but in the end decided to have them all up on top of the sentiment. Once I get that one down, I can go ahead and do a little bit of detail. I'm going to add some Nuvo Aqua Shimmer Pen to the face of the pumpkin, and then also on a couple of the lollipops just to add some glitter to this card. But basically that finishes up the card. Super quick Halloween card. I thought it turned out so cute. For more inspiration using this die set, don't forget to follow Trinity Stamps on their social media, including their inspiration group on Facebook. So here's a couple more videos you can watch, and I will be back next week with another project for Trinity Stamps, and hope to have at least one more Halloween project for you before you see me back here with Trinity. So have a great week, everyone, and I will see you really soon in the next video. Take care. Bye.